What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Jared's Books. I am Jared, and we are hanging out on a bleak Sunday afternoon ish, working on becoming properly caffeinated. So let's hope that this works. I wanted to do a book review today and just do like a weekly catch up, and I realized that all of my book reviews recently have been like current reads, meaning I read the book, I do a video, but I have a ton of stuff that I've read in the past. I read a lot last year before I started this channel, and I wanted to review one of those books today. This book completely changed the way that I look at literature. It motivated me as a writer to finally stop procrastinating and start the writing process, which is now something that I'm closing in on being finished with my first novel. And I can't say enough about it. It's easily one of my top five novels of all time. And I'm talking about Truman Capote's In Cold Blood. I am not sure how, out of all the videos I've done, I have not reviewed this yet. This book came out in 1966, and it's a Truman Capote's book. Truman Capote is famously known for Breakfast at Tiffany's, which I thought was a stinker, and Other Voices, Other Rooms, his very first novel, which I thought was absolutely terrible. Um, in Cold Blood changed the face of literature and can actually be credited for kind of starting the nonfiction genre. This book is so much more than true crime, and I'm going to elaborate quite a bit on that. This book covers the 1959 Clutter family murders that happened in Holcomb, Kansas. A family, the Clutters, Herb Clutter, Bonnie, and their two teenage children were brutally murdered one night. They were all bound, tied, and then shot in the head with shotguns. It was a terrible, a horrific crime scene, and in small town Kansas at the time, it really shook the community to its core. Truman Capote was already gaining some renown in the literature world back before book talks and booktubes and things like that, and started digging into the crime. He went to Holcomb. He started interviewing lots of the townspeople. He was interviewing the lead detective and things like that. And he spent 6 years on this book. Interviews, creating scenes within. I got to choose how I like kind of word this. Took a lot of time putting together what he needed and sculpting this novel. And some of the things that I think are absolutely spectacular with this book are the prose. If you like prose, if you like ethereal writing, you're going to absolutely fall in love with this book because what it does is, yes, this is following a crime, which can kind of classify this book as true crime. But what Truman Capote has done in this book is he creates, like, we call it world building. We always talk about world building in like science fiction novels and things like that. He builds 1959 Kansas. He builds the scene where the murders happened. He builds the scenes of Dick Hickok and Perry Smith, the two murderers, as they're traveling across the United States and hiding out in Mexico and things like that. He builds all of these scenes in a very fictional feel, but it's not. It's factual. It's based on actual events, and the way he creates it, the way that you get to feel like you're transcended to the scene of the crime, or you're transcended, in the car riding around with Dick Hickok and Perry Smith, or even later on when you're visiting death row while they're sitting on it. There are spoilers in this review, so if you haven't read it yet, there's going to be some spoilers in here because you just can't kind of describe the book without talking about it. So after the family's murdered, and Truman Capote starts his investigation into the town and stuff. He also starts interviewing the two murders, Dick Hickok and Perry Smith, and he develops what a lot of people think is he was kind of crossing the lines with his personal relationship. I don't want to delve too much into what that may mean with Perry Smith, and he gives a very good portrayal and factual representation of what Perry Smith's childhood was like, which that incorporates a lot of the nature versus nurture aspects of this book. There's a lot of underlying themes in here that are very important, and one of them is that nature versus nurture. Perry Smith's terrible childhood, kind of molding him into the killer that he became. Um, Another aspect of the book I think that you'll find is kind of the disintegration of maybe the American dream is what I got from it. You have the Clutter family, which was stand up, um, work hard, go to church, pray, um, clean living, that kind of thing, all American family, and it was completely destroyed on the whim by these two guys that they were actually robbing them based off of some false facts they got when they were in prison for another time, and ended up only getting away with 40 or 50 bucks. So their whole American dream was swept away for 40 or $50. It was just, I think that was a big underlying theme in it. Um, so you'll follow the Clutter family, you'll follow Perry Smith and Dick Hickok, and then you'll follow Truman Capote's relationship with both of them. Like I said, the book is very prose heavy. It's very descriptive. You will feel like you're there. This is one of those books where you feel like you were transported. Like I got that feeling when I first time I read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and some Stephen King novels. He's very good with that. Um, I really felt like I was there. This book is an absolute 10 out of 10, 5 stars. It's easily in my top five. It could possibly get a little bit higher. I don't know where I would rank it. I'd have to redo my top five, but definitely check this out. I wanted to go ahead and recommend this book to anybody that's thinking about it. If you haven't picked it up, or if it happens to be on your reading list for college or schoolwork or whatever, um, take the time to read into it. Just don't read it. I know that's kind of sounds funny, but I think that happens a lot on BookTube too. Is people are just reading books, and you're like, well, that's what we're doing here, right? Like, no, you can read a book at a blistering pace and not take anything away from it. I think it's important to read the book, really read it, think about what it has to say. This book has a lot to say. This book has something to say. This book was a major social impact on literature and everything. If you don't believe me, read it. I'd love to hear comments back on this. What did you think about the book? What did you think about some of the cinematic interpretations of the book? Because there is one out there. Capote follows. It's Philip Seymour Hoffman plays Truman Capote. I thought it was an absolute awesome movie. Perry Smith, the way he was portrayed, I thought they did a great job. I thought they did a really great job. If you like a period piece, you're really gonna like it. So I can't recommend this one enough. Definitely check it out. The reason I wanted to give that review instead of waiting for my current read is because I jumped into Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. I had to see what all the buzz was about. Obviously, this book is very well renowned. This is another a lot of people's top 10, top five. It gets a lot of buzz on the booktube and bookstagram and everything like that in the book community. This book is very long. This is over 800 pages. It feels good in the hand. I always mention the physical aspects. Font is a little small, so it's going to take a while. I kind of cracked into it a little bit. You can see there in the last day. So I really like it so far. I really like Larry McMurtry's pacing. This book is funny too. There's a couple times when I'm sitting up here in my reading chair where I was actually, really laughing out loud. It's some scenes in it are pretty funny so far, and the descriptiveness, the writing in here is great. So I'm enjoying it. But like I said, it's gonna be a while before I finish it. This book's probably gonna take me about a week and a half to 2 weeks. So in the meantime, I wanted to stay consistent and give you, a good solid book review. So that's what's going on there. I've been doing some writing. Like I said, I'm now at the final scenes of my novel. I did a lot of writing yesterday. I plan on doing some today if this coffee will ever decide to kick in and black out and write a bunch of pages. So getting very close to that. What I was thinking of doing, and I know I don't have a lot of subscribers, but the few of you that do watch the videos and do comment, I really appreciate it. And um, I try to get back to everyone's comments. And what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about doing a monthly book club. And no, this is not a shameless plug or commercial or anything like that that you might find in other places. But what I would like to do is, if you go back to some of my earlier videos, I talked about getting that engagement from the book community, or just other people that like reading, because it seems like everybody else is kind of like we're kind of slipping into an idiocracy kind of thing. So it's hard to find other people that to talk about books with. So I'm thinking about starting a book club. It would probably go through Patreon. It seems like a lot of YouTubers do that. It would probably be something, minimal, maybe like a $5 thing. We do like a monthly book club. And if you're interested in that, let me know, because if no one's interested in it, I probably won't do it. But if I get a good enough feedback from some of y'all that comment on the videos, we'll do a book club. And with Halloween being the next coming up thing, I figured we could do like start off with like some horror or something scary or something like that, and we could do like a Halloween kind of book club month, which I thought would be pretty cool. So just an idea, and let me know what you think about it. So let's wrap this up. If you have not checked out Truman Capote's In Cold Blood, I don't know what to tell you. You have to read it. This is a must read. If you take literature seriously, uh, if you're a writer looking for inspiration on how to describe stuff, please check it out. Um, and then check out the movie. The Philip Seymour Hoffman did a fantastic job in Capote. So please, I can't recommend this one enough. And I'd love to hear comments back on this one and what you thought about it. If you read Breakfast at Tiffany's or Other Voices, Other Rooms, I'd like your feedback on that. Other Voices, Other Rooms, I thought was terrible. Terrible. It didn't even seem like the same writer who wrote this. So I don't know what happened between that and this, but thank you. Um, Also, I'm not done with it, so don't give away any spoilers. If you give away spoilers on here, I'm going to take you off or block you. I'm going to get pissed because I'm liking the way this book's going. Caffeine's working. I can feel it. I'm going to go ahead and take care of some writing. Drop your comments, like, subscribe, follow along with these. Let me know if you're interested in the book club, and we will make it happen, okay? Until next time, thanks for stopping by. Keep reading. Talk soon.